I mean, you guys could do so many styles, and you had hits with so many different styles that it's kind of hard to say what kind of music that you do.
Well, that's what kind we do. I mean, we basically we all write, and
at one point we called it vegetable soup.
Yeah.
Because there was one, I was reading up on background on you guys today, and there was a point at which you helped me out with the history here, where you had done, what was it? Devil or Wild Woman or something like that. And
Wild Eyes.
Wild Eyes. And you could have gone really rock, and your American record company at that point said go pop, and you did Shoo Shoo Moo Moo, or which I'm sorry.
You got it.
You
That's close
know
enough.
the one I
mean. That's fairly accurate. Yeah. Yeah. We had a very large hit with Sweet City Woman, which was very pop. And and then we went to Europe, and we actually fell in with a bunch of rock and rollers, and we're quite, and we came back
tainted.
And, that sounds really, I'd like to pursue that, fell in with a bunch of rock and rollers. Now that sounds interesting. So anyway, you came back and?
Well, and basically I think we were more of a, and as we drew more and more people to concerts, we became more of a rock and roll band. I mean, that was more fun to present in concert than strictly pop. Yeah. And it went back and forth from there on. I mean, the songs that got on the radio were mostly pop songs, and we'd have the occasional, you know, a heavier hit like Wild Eyes and things like that, and a good juvenile grinder. And,
so you really had the guys in suits saying, okay, you can do the hard stuff in concert, but for radio play, we want pop music. Is that how it kind of went?
They'll say things like that too. Yeah.
But I think we're basically now just a loud rock band. That's somewhat where it's landed. I would
well,
say.
Yeah, we're actually we are. Given the fact that we're as old as we are, we're probably much louder than there you go. You see, there is a price to be paid.
It's very cool to be a loud rock band now. Yeah. Just before we go to calls, of which there are many, many, many waiting, I wanted to ask you guys about video. I watched your video this afternoon, which is made up of old videos, and you were so far ahead of the game. You were doing videos when they
did video when it was filmed.
Yeah. Must admit that Mel Shaw, our manager back then, had a lot to do with instigating us to do a lot of that original footage, dating back some of it to the mid-'60s. So glad that he was.
Yeah, he wanted us to film things even before we had any success. When we were basically playing in little rooms, basement clubs in Calgary in the '60s.
At the Blind Onion.
We did things on Super 8. We were always filming something, and.
Yeah, because there's a sequence. There's a sequence of you guys. I guess when you were 6. I mean, when there was 6 of you, and 3 of you are actually in your really dreadful yellow outfits when you used to wear yellow denim, like doing a shticky thing down a Calgary street. But it's really fun, and it's just great to have that kind of stuff.
I know. It's great for memory. How's Stampede Week going out there right now?
Oh, it's fine. It's fine.
Well, we miss you. We wanted to give you one big yahoo, didn't we, guys?
Okay. Let's do it.
Okay.
Hey, true Calgarian. And I take it the yellow outfits are not going to make. They're not going to make a reappearance. Whose idea was that? Mel's idea too?
Well, they were not expensive. And,
no kidding.
And that was the main criterion for buying band outfits back then.
I believe we got them all white color.
So what you do is you get some of your regular white denims and dunk them in the bathtub with a box of Tintex or whatever. There you go.
Listen, let's take some calls. I'm going to start in Point Claire, Quebec. This is David. Hi, David.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hello, boys.
Hi, David.
One of the greatest bands, Canadian bands anyway, of mine. Great to see you, and I hope you're going to be out in Montreal here again soon.
Thanks so much. Try. Thank you.
Last time I seen any of you guys, I guess it was just Ronnie. He played a club, The Mustache, many years ago in Montreal.
Oh, I don't talk about that.
Well, Ronnie, I'd really like to know what you guys did.
Well, the band
end.
Yeah, the band kind of.
The band gradually disintegrated. Rich, and then me, and then there was Ronnie and the mustache.
Right down to the end, but yeah, I recall that engagement well. It was just yet another version of the then Stampeders. So, but these are the original 3.
But now, did you make us, Ronnie? Did you make a Stampeders band with 2 other guys? Is that what you did?
Actually, after Richard initially left in about '77 or so, The band was expanded to a horn section. We had keyboards. We were 7 at one point. Then Kim said, "No way," and moved on. And I said, "What way?" So went to about 1980, and finally people noticed.
The other two were missing. So did you guys have an acrimonious breakup? Was it like, were there...
No, it was.
I want the dirt here, you know.
Oh, okay, we'll try.
Okay.
We hated Rich, so we edged him out. And then Ronnie hated me, so he edged me out.
Not true.
And,
None of this is true. They hated
no,
me and left.
it was a battle over a woman. The three of us, we were all...
Oh, good. Oh, that's... this is the kind of stuff I
You
want
want
to
dirt,
hear.
Canada? There it is.
David, did you have another question?
I have a question. I just want to say to the boys, I still request their songs all the time on oldies. Oh My Lady, Ramona, Wild Eyes, Minstrel Gypsy, it just goes on and on. But I want to ask them about a particular song, and I wonder if it's going to be on their greatest hits album, my favorite song. Then Came the White Man.
Oh, yeah, it's on there.
Yeah.
Great.
It's a Ronnie King song.
Thanks very much. It is. That's kind of my answer to Dances with Wolves, if you will.
Well, and you know, I was,
72.
again, I mean, I heard so many songs listening to your compilation album that I didn't realize were yours. But listening to that one, Then Came the White Man, also well ahead of its time.
Thanks very much.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, people were not writing about Aboriginal issues. I mean, and it's sort of an issue song in a kind of
definitely
a way. Yeah.
I feel the North American natives were pretty well off till the white man came along and maybe messed some things up.
That's
but
you.
Of course, that's my opinion.
Yeah, but I mean, how did that song come to you? Because people weren't. I mean, that wasn't really a big talk. I mean, it wasn't a big issue at that point. I don't think.
No, I guess I just always had a certain social concern.
I think living in Calgary, too, with such a huge population of Indian Sarsi and all, I was brought up with all that.
Definitely that, yeah. I was also influenced by Paul Revere and the Raiders, Cherokee Nation. That also made me think, along with our upbringing from the West and all that.
Great song, fabulous song.
Thanks a lot.
Kim is in Winnipeg. Hi, Kim.
Hello.
Go ahead.
Hi.
Hi, Kim.
Hi, how you doing?
Terrific, thanks.
Welcome back.
Thank you very much.
I just wanted to know what you have been doing with yourself since you've been kind of out of the limelight for so many years. Did you have interests outside of music, or were you like other jobs, or?
Well, I've been doing record production. I've got a recording studio, so I've been doing a lot of record production and a few independent records. And Kim has been...
Well, I had kind of a minor burnout and got out of, quit the road. I had to get off the road, and I got into theater, and I became an actor, and I studied, I spent 7 years fairly immersed in the theater, and it was another good time, and certainly hasn't been abandoned, but I also worked on music throughout that period. I've never been able to let these things go.
Do you talk about punishing yourself, though? I mean, you get off the road, which is tough, and then you go into theater, which is like so tough.
Yeah.
I mean,
no sense of...
When it's all you know, entertainment.
Tell me about Burnout on the Road. What was that for you?
Well, after the Stampeders, I formed a band called The Cry, which had some records and was quite different than the Stampeders. It was a fairly edgy band. But I was having some personal troubles with family troubles, and which, you know, it's all part and parcel of being away a lot, and and you've heard this story a million times, and this is just another version of it. But yeah, I crashed, and I couldn't take it anymore. I didn't want to see another white line, and so I just stopped, because the only way to stay alive as a musician, essentially, was to be on the road and out working, and I stopped. And took a little time to rethink things, and then did what I kind of wanted to do for years, really, which was get into the theater and study that.
And Ronnie, you've been quite open, really, about the road being pretty tough on your personal life.
I'm an open guy.
Yeah.
But about 1980, but the end of the rise and the fall, I call it, of that era anyway, I moved to Calgary and stabilize as best I could out there, and ended up running assorted versions of the Ronnie King Band out there and hide all the guys that out there.
Hide all the guys that were in Ronnie's band?
Yeah, yeah.
The availables.
There got to be so many of them that, yeah, we call them the availables because
Whoever's available.
So, and then I eventually, last few years in Calgary, in fact, on the cable system, I had my own little TV show trying to feature nostalgic Canadian rockers like us. And that idea still exists. I still have that in the back of my head. But I had lots of fun doing that. I had Kelly J on from Crowbar, and we did, my band and him, we did Oh, What a Feeling. Then I had Floyd Sneed on from Three Dog Night.
He invited Richard and I on, but we wouldn't go.
Exactly.
Hey, can you, just before we go for a break, can you guys do, I mean, you just sang a little, can you just do us like a line of Sweet City Woman or anything really, just like a line?
Sweet, sweet city woman. Obviously we can't.
It's not.
It's great, it all comes back. We'll take a short break. You can rehearse something. And when we
brought a guitar, you should have told us.
when we come back, more from Canadian music legends, and indeed they are the Stampeders after this. Welcome back to Petrie and Prime. I'm Ann Petrie. Rich Dodson, Kim Burley, and Ronnie King, that would be from left to right on your screen, are the Stampeders. They have been called a rock group, a country group, and just about everything in between. They have a new album. This one is their greatest hits. It's a compilation of their most popular tunes, but there's going to be a new one coming out. They're in Toronto gearing up for a 10-date tour of the Atlantic provinces. The numbers to talk to the Stampeders, toll-free 1-800-665-1433, or in Calgary, it's 521-6285. The guys are in Toronto. Do you all live in Toronto? No, Ronnie, you live in Calgary.
I moved back here last year now.
Yeah. Oh, you moved back to Toronto.
I did.
Oh, so you've just abandoned the West, haven't you all?
Not entirely. I'll be back.
Okay. Let's go to Andy in Belleville, Ontario. Hi, Andy.
Hi there.
Go ahead.
How's it going?
Great.
I'm just wondering here, who are your earliest influences?
Well,
CCR.
Well, even the Beatles, I mean,
Beatles, Kinks
and
for
before
me.
that, my older brother was a major Elvis fan, so I mean, I grew up with Elvis and all.
That's Domino, Jerry Lee Lewis, some of the early greats.
And when we were young and just starting to play, the Beatles were breaking, and the British thing was just starting.
Tell you what, a lot of us started on in Calgary was the instrumental groups, the Ventures and the
that's right.
Fireballs.
All the local bands
Shadows.
played that stuff. Yeah.
Shadows, Cliff Richards and the Shadows. And then they all started singing, and we said, do we have to sing?
Did you guys know, I mean, you didn't know how to sing? You hadn't like...
Well, we did, but we didn't know it.
Well, you know, the concept of actually, in those days, you took a microphone and plugged it into one of the guitar amps and hoped for the best. I mean, it was
all of us
low tech all the way.
Well, now, did you take music lessons? You know, as far as instruments go, did you know, you knew how to play the guitar, presumably?
By ear.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would think we're all self-taught. I don't
Street
think,
musicians, what we are.
I had some violin lessons when I was quite young, but
I had some banjo lessons for about an hour.
yeah.
Really? So, now, did I read correctly where you guys answered an ad to get together originally?
Well, I put an ad in the paper. I was looking for musicians and got it on the rock radio show, and yeah, and that was it. That brought me together with Richard through another guy, and then Ronnie.
And Kim could play Wipeout better than the drummer that we had. It was phenomenal. And the other drummer said, this guy is so incredible, I quit. He should be your drummer. Wipeout.
So how old were you all at that point?
Oh, 16.
16?
17.
Wow.
Yeah, this is my pretty much first and only band.
Wow,
Isn't
just
that
like
wild, eh?
kids, huh?
Absolutely, yeah.
We left Calgary to hit the road when we were 16, 17. We had to paint a mustache on Kim because he looked the youngest, being
Yeah,
smaller.
we were playing bar dates, and
Here in Ontario.
the drinking age was 21.
That's right, 21.
And I was just turning 18, and I painted this little. I tried to grow a beard, but it wasn't growing in very full, so I filled it in with an eyebrow pencil. You know, I must have stood out like a red light. You know.
This guy is underage. Get him.
Oh, this is a call from Calgary. It's Lanny.
Lanny.
Hi, Lanny.
Hello?
Go ahead.
Yeah, hi guys.
How you doing, Lanny?
This is Lanny from Calgary here.
Hey.
I'm just wondering, what direction are you heading on your new album?
That way.
Probably, we've discussed all sorts of things, and it will probably do the same thing. I would
Country
think.
rock, pop. Rock.
I mean, I have.
Rock,
Yeah.
Well, now, is everybody going to write? Is that how it's going to work?
Yeah, the best songs we can come up with.
Yeah,
We're songwriters. And
We'll
we're
write
just
a bunch
gonna
of
write the
songs
best stuff we can.
and record them and argue about them and
It'll find its way.
have someone else
Now,
depends what it is.
But writing used to work, as far as I can understand, fairly separately before. You didn't used to work together on songs as much as somebody would write it and.
Well, you know, that's true. But when you realize that, like, I would write a kind of a loosely formed melody and some words and a few guitar chords, and that would be all I would bring in, and it really. I depended on these guys to flesh it out and to make it musical, really, and
help arrange it.
And yeah, and so in that sense, you know, that's all part of getting the song to work, and but we're still pretty much the same.
Yeah,
we don't sit around a lot and work
collaborate.
together. Yeah.
Oh, we're going to try, though.
Let's go to Armando in Richmond Hill, Ontario. Hi, Armando.
Hello, how are you?
Good.
Hello.
Hi, guys.
Armando.
How are you?
Great.
Just want to say that you're my all-time favorite band, and my all-time favorite song in the world is Sweet City Woman.
Great. Thank you.
Congratulations on everything.
Thank you.
Very much.
But I wanted to ask you guys, have you ever thought about getting into soundtrack work or anything like that, or because of your involvement with the theater and stuff like that?
Well, my involvement in theater was actually as an actor, and no, I never did. I think that's quite a specialized.
If it presents itself, if it comes along, I think we're definitely open to it. Absolutely.
Let's talk about Sweet City Woman, and here's my, you know, I'm sex, drugs, and rock and roll, and also money. Do you guys still get dough from Sweet City Woman? Do you get royalties?
Oh, yeah.
Richard wrote it, and
Does he get all the royalties?
he gets most of the money for that one.
Oh.
It's been a very good song.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
so you're still getting like lots
Absolutely.
of money, Richard?
Yeah, it's doing
I mean,
very well. Yeah.
Kim, you're getting lots of money from
Oh, lots.
tons of money. And what about
buckets.
what are the other ones that continue to be like your biggest hits in a sense of bringing in royalties?
Oh, My Lady is apparently, according to the publisher, the second biggest.
I think we can kind of go according to our royalty checks that come in, and my biggest is playing in the band that I wrote as far as my writings.
That's very good. Wild Eyes.
Oh, yeah. Oh, they're such wonderful songs. This is Harold in Moncton, New Brunswick. Hi, Harold.
Hi, Harold. How you
know,
doing,
no
guy?
girls are phoning in.
What is the matter
I
here?
know. What is the... I'm sure you guys
Has
know
time
a few...
been that tough?
I know you know a few girls.
No.
This is...
Only one.
Yeah, right.
That was
one
the
each,
problem.
I know. This is Harold in Moncton. Hi, Harold.
Hi.
Go ahead.
How you doing, guys?
Listen, you guys are the icons of the Canadian music industry that actually I consider that you guys have put us on the map as far as the international music scene is concerned.
I like your point of view there.
These guys can phone all they want.
Yeah.
Very kind of you, Harold.
Well,
I'm
thanks.
glad you're playing. I remember when you guys used to play the Metro Club here in Moncton.
As well as I remember opening the Moncton Coliseum. We were the
Exactly.
very first act in there, if you recall.
That's right, yeah.
Yeah, do you know, and you know what's amazing also, just looking back at that, we're also used to concerts and tours and things like that, but you guys really did some of the first major touring around Canada. I mean, for a Canadian band, you brought Canadian music to places like Moncton.
Donald K. Donald will have his way with us.
Yeah.
Oh, he was
did
the,
have.
he was the promoter guy, wasn't he?
his early days and ours, and basically you're right, we did really create a circuit, a concert circuit. We have a lot of small places. I mean, you know, this is a very large country with not very many people, and you have to cover a lot of ground
To get to everybody.
And we played
We did 6 tours.
endlessly.
Wow.
We played in places where people really had never seen a band, and it was phenomenal
It's
to see the
wonderful.
reaction.
I mean, that's, you should get the, did you ever get the Order of Canada or something?
No, but if you'd put in a word.
I would, you should.
You know the
Talk
guy.
to someone.
I'm sure that would go over really big with the Governor General. Brought rock and roll to small towns in Canada. Let's go to Dan in Toronto. Hi, Dan.
Yeah, hi. My name is Dan from Toronto.
Yeah.
Hi, Dan.
And what I'd like to ask is, first of all, my father-in-law claims to own the banjo that was used on Sweet City Woman.
That's where it went.
You wanna?
First of all, I'm just wondering, would that be possible? Did you guys lose track of that particular banjo? Who played the banjo, and whose idea was it to put a banjo, which is not considered a rock instrument, on that particular track?
Well, it was,
If I may.
Rich, it was your banjo, wasn't
Richard's
it?
idea, and it was Richard's banjo, and he would know where.
I don't know. I don't
Now, I remember the story.
I don't think so.
I remember the story where you came into the studio. We were in the studio with the guitar riff, and somebody said, you know, you got this line in there, banjo and me. Why don't you use a banjo? And you said, no, it's a different tuning on the banjo. And I said, tune it like a guitar.
Yes.
And then for years afterwards, real banjo players would come up and say, how do you get that chord? It's just, I've almost got it there.
Now it's out.
And do you know what happened to the banjo, Rich?
I don't know.
Could
he might have a point. He could. He could.
Well, you know what? You should bring it. He should bring it to your concert, and then you could identify it and put an inestimable value upon it, and his father-in-law will make millions from it.
Well, I know if I see it, I'll know that.
Okay, guys, we have to go. We're out of time. Thanks so much. I can just tell that Canadians, particularly in the Maritimes where you're going first, are really looking forward to seeing you.
Beautiful.
Can't wait to get out there.
Best of luck.
Thank you very much, Dan.
Thanks a lot. Bye.
Thanks, Canada. Bye-bye.